I'm just at a bit of a loss at what to even say on day 12. Blown away is not even going to cover it. And I'm struggling to find words for what this body is going through because it feels like a huge breakthrough. And even that isn't going to touch what it is. Deepening is the better word, I think. And being so grateful for that deepening and just the exploration that goes on when I go to bed at night in a fasted state, as I've done for 12 nights. Last night was a significant shift. There's no question in my mind about it. There are those profound things that happen in our meditations and in our personal spiritual explorations that just don't make sense. And no matter how you slice them or dice them, in the 3D, they're not going to make sense. So the struggle is very real, as they say, to put words to some of the things that came through last night, but I'm going to do my best because I made a commitment to myself on this particular fast that I was going to try and be really good at vlogging as much as possible, knowing that I'm going to be traveling next week and it may not be as easy. I'm trying to be a little bit better at it on the front end of this fast. Wow. When I go to sleep at night, the last things I look at in my room in the tiny are on my wall. One says, breathe and don't resist. No coincidence there. And the other wall says, stay open. No coincidence there either, I'm sure. Typically, when I get into my bed, I'm in my nice cozy PJs. I spray my bed down with lavender when I go brush my teeth so that it's all just beautiful and inviting. And I turn my electric blanket on and then I turn it off because I don't want any of those EMF emitters when I'm meditating. So just get it nice and warm and cozy. And then I put all of my technology away. And I get my Alexa going and my wireless Bluetooth headset. And I get into bed and I put on just a nice, gentle white noise or calming noise pattern is what I prefer. And I go into my meditation. I always start with gratitude for the day. And I go through and ask if there's anyone here who's needing love, support, healing to step forward. And I'm always completely surprised at who shows up in that experience. So last night was no different. And I had done about a 6-hour dry fast leading up to bedtime. And what that means is triangulating certain hours in the day where you literally do not drink even water so that your body goes even deeper into autophagy. And I tend to do that when I know I'm going to be close to home in case my electrolytes go off or I'm not feeling well. So yesterday was one of those days. We're calling for some snow. So I stay close to the tiny because I don't like driving when it's slick out there. And decided to throw some dry fasting into the next couple of days just to really, biohack and test this whole process. So I stopped, I put all water away so I don't forget. I put my hydro flask away so I don't accidentally grab it and drink it. And I got my electrolytes in good shape and I was off and running. So by bedtime, I had been dry fasting for about 5 or 6 hours. And I just noticed a level of awareness that I had not been noticing. And I think it's a combination of the 12th day and the dry fast. As I looked at the wall and I saw the breathe and do not resist wall hanging, and I'll put a screenshot of that in here. I heard my God Squad say, let's look at breath a little differently tonight, shall we? And I said, okay, here we go. And that's kind of how it works. The invitation is always there. I just have to create the silence, the quietness. The engagement's always going on, as I've mentioned to you guys. So it was just an okay. This is all telepathic, by the way. This is not words and exchanges like we're used to in the 3D. It's all just known. The conversation is happening, it's being felt, it's known. Now, this is going to sound like nothing new, yet it was so profound. Follow the breath all the way out. Follow the breath all the way in. Out and in. And they took me through a guided breathing routine that was like nothing I had ever experienced. And it's really funny because I recently just got this light bright game, which is super cool, by the way. If you grew up with this like I did, this is the new version of it. The pegs don't come out in this, and you can play games, memory games, play with colors, all kinds of things. And it reminds me of a game that I played when I was younger called Merlin, where it would try to get you to follow. It would do a pattern of lights and sounds, and then you would have to, as the person playing it, would have to then go and try and mimic that. And if you won it, it would take you to the next level. And if you lost, it would play a sad sound and you'd start over. And this light bright does something similar. This breathing felt similar to that game, and that I felt like I was being taken on a pattern of a type of breathing that they wanted me to use to go deeper into meditation. And I was being guided in how long to hold that particular breath, the in, the hold, the out. And it was different than anything I had ever done. As I continued to just follow this understanding of this breathing pattern, I immediately recognized I wasn't in my body, which for me is not a big deal because that happens all the time in meditation. But what was different was normally I have some kind of a feeling or a popping or a sensation that happens. And this time it was just instant. It was like I had a green screen and everything just changed based on my thinking. It's the only way I can explain it. And then I heard this. You know you're in a simulator. They, meaning every aspect, every other, are also in a simulator. So what are you going to do about it? Whoa. If I hadn't been laying down, that one would have taken me down because I felt it through my whole body. It was no longer a knowing. It was almost like I was being given an award, or I was completing a course and they were saying, here's your certificate. And I was kind of looking around like, okay, now what? That's kind of cool. But now what? And then I heard, breathe and don't resist. The rest is taken care of, and laughter. It was a full celebration. It was a graduation. And I know that. Today I wake up and there's just this, like, I'm starting to tear up right now talking about it because it was a really emotional exchange. Whew. I talk to you guys a lot about the things that I move through, and I share openly and freely with my vulnerability here. And I know sometimes I make it seem like this is simple, but the processing and the unraveling and the awareness expansions and the deepenings are equally the same to me as they are to you. And that if I get caught in a story, they're painful. Last night, there was nothing painful about this. There was this honoring. But what came after it is what's so connecting for me. Exhaustion. The deepest exhaustion I think I've ever felt since giving birth. 23 hours of labor, 3 hours of pushing. I'm not even kidding. And I felt more exhausted last night after I heard those utterances. It was as if this physical body said, fine, we don't have to jump through hoops anymore. She gets it. She's in a simulator. She doesn't need us to have egoic expectations anymore. Now, I don't want to lump too much of this together because it sounds like an expectation coming out of it, and that's not what was happening. It was very quantifiable, like I was being given a new pamphlet that said, here's a new operating system. Don't worry about trying to understand it. It's on board already. It's going to show you the way. Go to sleep. And I fell into the deepest rest and woke up this morning and I did not move. My comforter was right where I pulled it up onto me. I still had my glasses on my head. My nightlight was still on dim. And normally I leave all that on because I get up one more time to go to the restroom before I do the full, and let Milo out one more time before I do the full, you're really in for the night kind of thing. And this really set the stage for that. So I will feed into this more if more arises, but I wanted to jump on and kind of share that, at least that piece of it for now. I'm sure there might be more to come. I'm still processing it. I'm still a little overwhelmed by it, to be honest, and emotional. And I don't know what it means, and I'm not trying to understand it. I'm just doing what I was guided. Breathe and don't resist. The rest is taken care of. The processing will do itself. Just stay on it. Day 12. Cowabunga. Day 12. Much love. Until next time.